This is a data overview for Flowery Branch High School, located in the Hall County School District, presented by Charles Ulmer. The intended audience for this presentation is the faculty of Flowery Branch High School and its administrators. The purpose of this presentation is to compare the Millstone EOCT scores from 2011 through 2014 and looking at scores from 2015. Determine the strengths and weaknesses. Compare school, state, and district scores on the Millstone assessment from 2011 to 2014, as well as 2015. Enrollment numbers for 2011 to 2012. From 2011 to 2015 for Flowery Branch High School. As you can see here, from 2011 to 12, we were at 1734. We went up to 1755 in 2012, and then went up again in 2013 and 14 to 1827, and then decreased in 2014 to 2015 to 1758. Flowery Branch High School demographics from 2014 to 15. We are a predominantly white school at 70% white, 19% Hispanic, 8% African American, and 3% multiracial. Race ethnicity breakdown for the 3 years of 2012 to 2015. From 2012 to 2013, we stayed pretty much at 70% white. Multiracial, we stayed from 2% to 3%, so no change there. Hispanic 17 to 19 over a 3-year period from 2012 to 15, so really no change there either. And our black population stayed the same from 2012 to 2015 at roughly 7.5%. Asian population, same thing, stayed at 1% over the course of those 3 years as well. So really no change in student population as far as demographic goes over the course of 2012 to 15. Flowery Branch High School subgroup demographics. Our limited English proficiency stayed the same over the course of 3 years from 2012 to 15 at 2%. Same thing for eligible for free and reduced meals. Pretty much stayed the same from 2012 to 15 at 34%, 32, and 31. Gradual decline from 2012 to 2015 from 34 to 31%. And then from 2012 to 2015, our students with disabilities actually increased 1%. And our migrant students, we do not have migrant students. Okay, Flowery Branch High School stability and transient. In 2012 and 13, 48.1% of our students had 5 or fewer days absent. 2013 and 14, 51.6%, and in 2014 and 15, 52%. So you can see roughly 50% of our students over the course of those 3 years had 5 or fewer absences. And in 2012, students with 6 to 15 days absent were 37%, 34% in 2013 and 14, and then 34.2% in 2014 and 15. So again, those numbers stayed constant as well over the course of those 3 years. Students with more than 15 days absent in 2012 was at 14%, 13% in 2013-14, and 13.8% in 2014 and 15. So across the board, you can see it was pretty stable as far as transient rate goes. So we had roughly about 85% 2012 with 15 or less days absent. And in 2013 and 14, we had about 87% of students with 15 or less days absent. And then again here in 2014 and 15, we had about 85% with 15 or fewer days absent. So that really helps in EOCT scores. It pretty much helps in all academic areas. Okay, Flowery Branch High School graduation rates, 2012 and 15. In 2012 to 13, we had an 87.6% graduation rate. That went down in 2013 and 14 to 84, and then it bounced up again to 93% in 2014 and 15. Okay, now let's take a look and see what we can observe or infer about the data regarding our Millstone scores from 2011 to 2014. Okay, these are our EOCT proficiency scores for 2011 to 2014. Doesn't meet is in blue, meets is in gray, and exceeds is in yellow. The numbers here in the red, those are doesn't meet, but you'll look at the blue bars. I just put red numbers above it so we could kind of get a look and see where we were at as far as doesn't meet. Okay, highest numbers right here are in geometry. 65% does not meet proficiency in 2013 and 14, and in 2012 and 13 it was algebra at 71%, and in 2011 our math scores right here in math 2 was at 43%. So our math scores are our highest academic area that doesn't meet proficiency. So I'm not picking on the math teachers, I'm just going by the data. Okay, so now let's take a look and see what else we can see. Okay, our econ and enterprise, free enterprise and business scores are at 45% and 38%, because those are meet and exceeds. So we're at about 90% right here in 2013 and 14 for proficiency. Econ and business right here, those guys are at about 70% proficiency. Econ and business again about 68% proficiency. So let's see what else we can tell by these graphs. U.S. history right here, they're meeting and exceeding at basically a 60% rate. They have a 39% doesn't meet proficiency in 2011 and 12, and then U.S. history they went down and doesn't meet proficiency. They actually decreased that score by 10% and went up in meets and exceeds, and then 31% in U.S. history right here, and 49% of meets and exceeds. So that takes them to about 80%, because then they actually decreased again to 20%. So they went from 29 to 20% in U.S. history. Okay, so not a bad job. I've got a little bit of work to do in math, but I think these scores will make a lot more sense when we it's kind of jumbled up right now. I know it's kind of hard to make heads or tails of it. It's kind of hard to get 3 sets of data on one table and make sense of it. But we'll compare them. Maybe they'll make a little bit more sense when we start comparing them to district and state, which we will do in the upcoming slides. Okay, but one quick observation, or let's make some quick observations. Our strengths is from 2011 to 2014. Literature and composition scored at over 80% proficiency. Weaknesses: math scores have the most students below proficiency over years 2011 to 2014. One of the inferences that we can make is students seem to be having a hard time understanding geometry and math, which may be due to yearly curriculum changes in each subject. We should compare our test scores with others throughout the district and state. Okay. Now I told you before that the EOCT proficiency scores we looked at for our school, Flowery Branch, would maybe it'll make a little bit more sense when we start comparing them to the district and state. So let's do that now. Okay, our 9th grade lit and composition EOCT scores at or above proficiency. In 2011 and 12, we were at 89%. The school was gray, the district is orange, and the state is blue. Okay, so in 2011 and 12, we're 89%, 88% in 2012, 85% 2013 to 14. Okay, now in 2011, we're above both the district and the state. We're on par with the district here and above the state, and we're above the district and right below the state. However, we did decrease from 2011 to 2014 4 percentage points, but still not bad. American literature and comp at or above proficiency percentage. 2011 we're at 93%. 2012 and 13 94. 2013 and 14 93%. Okay, so we've stayed steady in there, but here in 2011 we're still above the district and the state, still above the district and state here in 2012 and 13, and tied with the state and above the district in 2013 and 14. Again, pretty good stuff. Okay, biology proficiency percentage at or above. In 2011 and 12 we're at 83%. 2012 and 13 86. 2013 and 14 84%. So you can see the increase from 2011 and 12 to 2012 and 13, about 3 points, and then we kind of decreased in 2013 and 14 by 2 points, made it 84%. Still, throughout those 3 years, we are above both district and state in proficiency. Okay, Econ, Business, Free Enterprise, EOCT proficiency percentage. 2011, we're at 70%. Then we go to 73% in 2012 and 13, and then up to 83%, which is a 10% jump. 2011 and 12, we're below both the district and the state. And in 2012 and 13, at 73%, we're still below the district and state. But then 2013 and 14, we're above both the district and the state. So we made great gains in Econ, Business, and Free Enterprise. Math 2, at or above EOCT proficiency scores. Now remember, we talked about how our math scores were kind of low when we were just comparing our own data as a school. But I told you it'd make a little bit more sense. So here's one academic area, and we're talking about Math 2. In 2011 and 12, we were at 57%, which we all know is not great, compared to 53 of the district and 58 of the state. But then we jumped up to 72%, which put us above the district and right in line with the state. And then we dropped down to 49% in 2013 and 14. However, that's still 20 points better than the state and 16 points better than the district. So, I guess you have to kind of take into consideration what the district and the state is doing. And we all know it's not great and we need to do better. But still, we went from 57 to 72 to 49, and everyone is dropping. So again, it could be due to curriculum changes within the math programs. U.S. History EOCT proficiency percentage at or above, 61% in 2011 and 12. The district was at 60, state was at 76. 2012 and 13, 69%, 66% for the district, 70% for the state. 2013 and 14, 80% for school, 75% for the district, and 91% for the state. Although we ended up being below the state in 2013 and 14 and just above the district, in 2011 and 12, we made a 61% score. And in 2013 and 14, which I just mentioned, even though we're below the state and above the district, we made a 19% jump in proficiency. We went from 61% in 2011 and 12 to 69% in 2012 and 13, all the way up to 80% in 2013 and 14. So, great job there by our history teachers. Physical science, EOCT, at or above proficiency percentages. 2011, we're at 75%. 2012 and 13, we're at 67%. 2013 and 14, we're at 84%. In 2011 and 12, we're right on par with the district and the state, who are at 75 and 77 respectively. 2012, 13, 67. We're below the district and the state here in 2012 and 13, just below the district and well below the state. And in 2013 and 14, we're even with the state and above the district. However, from 2011 and 12 to 2013 and 14, we made a 9-point percentage increase, which is great. Although we did drop from 2011 and 12 from 75 to 67, we rebounded in 2013 and 14 to 84%. So great job by our physical science teachers. Okay, some observations. Overall, Flowery Branch High School's proficiency ratings are either at or above the proficiency ratings for both district and state in all content areas tested. Weaknesses. Flowery Branch High School's proficiency in math decreased from 2011 to 2014, however, ended up still above both district and state in 2014 related to proficiency. Since students with disabilities are one of the major subgroups in our school, we will look at their proficiency ratings compared to those scores of their schoolmates. Okay. When I looked at this, here's the proficiency ratings for 2013 and 2014 for students with disabilities compared to those without disabilities. All one has to do is take a look at the students with disabilities, the blue bars. That doesn't meet. They're far higher than the scores over here with students with disabilities. As you can see, there's a lot higher blue bars on the left side, which is students with disabilities, compared to those on the right. And that's pretty much true for all academic content areas. Same is true for 2012 and 13. You can see the blue bars are extremely high over here on the left side as compared with those with the students without disabilities. So the guys on the left who are students with disabilities, their blue bars are higher than the guys with the students with disabilities over here on the right. The blue bars over here on the right are not very high, and that's true for all academic areas again. And in 2011 and 12, students with disabilities proficiency ratings comparison, it's the same story. Left side blue bars are very high, right side blue bars are not very high, and that's true again for all academic areas. Okay. Observation, obviously, students with disabilities are struggling with becoming proficient learners opposed to those students who don't have disabilities. Now, in 2015, EOCT scores have new categories for determining proficiency, so percentages will change. New categories are as follows: beginning learners, developing learners, proficient learners, and distinguished learners. Now here's our scores. Flowery Branch High School 2014 and 15 EOCT at or above proficiency percentages. U.S. History, the blue is distinguished learners, yellow is proficient learners. Okay, gray is developed learners, and the orange are beginning learners. As you can see here we have about 11.5 and 32.3 in U.S. History. So that gives us about roughly 44% proficient learners. Okay, in physical science we don't have any distinguished or proficient learners. In econ we have 27.5 and 43.1, which are proficient and distinguished learners. And then coordinate algebra we have 9.4% and 33.9%, which are proficient and distinguished learners. Biology 7.6 and 37.5, and that gives us roughly about 45% distinguished learners or proficient learners in biology. Analytic geometry 32.9 and 7.4, so you got about 32.9 proficient learners and roughly 7.4, so that gives you about 40% proficiency learners. Okay, American Lit and Composition 8.1% are distinguished learners, 43.2% are proficient learners. So that, again, that gives you about 51% that are proficient in American Lit and Composition. Ninth grade literature and composition, you got 2.4 that are distinguished learners, and then you have 36.9% that are proficient learners. Okay, so that gives you about 40% that are proficient learners in ninth grade literature and composition. Okay, now here's how the school, Flowery Branch High School, compares to the state and district 2014 and 15 as far as proficiency comparisons on the EOCT. Now what I've done to just kind of make it simple is to just highlight in red where Flowery Branch High School meets or basically is higher than their counterparts for the district and the state. Okay, so what that means is proficient learners, we have 36.9% in ninth grade literature and composition. That's more than the district and the state has. Okay, 43.2 in American Lit, that's more than the district and state. 32.9 in geometry, it's more than district and state. So as you can see, all these numbers that are highlighted in red that means that we have our proficiency rating, or our proficiency percentage is higher than those in the district and the state. In distinguished learners, the same thing, 8.1% in American Lit, 27.5 in econ, 11.5% in U.S. history. Okay, here's another way of looking at it. EOCT, at or above proficiency percentage for state, district, and Flowery Branch. We got 39% right here that are proficient learners, proficient or distinguished. I just combine the two, proficient or distinguished. Okay, and I combine it for the state and district also. So as you can see, Flowery Branch High School is represented by the school 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 out of 8 areas we're above the district and the state as far as proficiency goes. Okay, now 2014-2015 proficiency rating comparisons of students with disabilities. Again, just like the The last set of data we looked at for students with disabilities, the blue bars on the left side representing students with disabilities versus the blue bars with students without disabilities. The guys on the left, who are the students with disabilities, the blue bars go higher than those guys on the right. I mean, all you have to do is look and see where the blue bars are, and you get a kind of a feel for of what's going on. Not as proficient over here on the left. Okay. Some observation. The strengths: American literature and econ free trade are our school's most proficient scores at around 42% for both. Flower Branch High School still has a higher percentage of proficient learners for 6 out of 8 content areas tested, and that's compared to the district and the state. Students with disabilities continue to underperform and be less proficient according to EOC test scores. Okay. Conclusions: although Flower Branch High School proficiency ratings are on par or above state and district scores, there are still areas that need improvement, such as how can more students become proficient in math content areas? What are literature, composition, and economics teachers doing in the classroom that result in their students scoring high proficiency ratings? What can be done to improve learning and proficiency scores of students with disabilities in all content areas? Thank you for your time. If you have any questions and comments, you can email me at artie.ulmer@hallco.org.